Hi there. My name's John Hannon. I'm the author of Your Normal Mind. In this exercise, I want to show you a little bit about your conscious experience. Many of these mindfulness exercises can direct you to focus on your breath, focus on your breath, focus on your breath, and it gets a little bit boring. In this exercise, I want to show you something different. We're going to take a little tour around your conscious experience and have a look at what things are really in there. Note that this is not a relaxation exercise. You might feel relaxed afterwards, but that's never the point. Notice also that you'll get distracted many times as you do this. Don't worry, that's normal. Don't rewind to catch up. Just let the whole thing play out in one go. After a couple of times, your mind will learn the pattern if you let it play through. So let's get straight into it. Sit up straight, but you don't need to worry too much about posture. Just pay it enough attention that you don't go to sleep. And when you're ready, close your eyes. So we will focus on the breath to start with, but we won't be there long. So breathe normally in and out through your nostrils. Notice that the air is slightly cooler on the way in and slightly warmer on the way out. Notice the rhythm of your breath. There's a breath in, ever so slight pause, and a breath out, and another pause. So as you breathe, I want you to take your awareness down to your left foot. Notice the pressure of the floor. Notice that sensation of pressure must have been there the whole time we've been doing this. The fact that you've only just noticed it means that it means something to move your awareness from your breath to your foot. Notice how you can focus in on the front pad of the sole of your foot. You can focus in on the pad on the heel. You can notice the arch. You can notice the pad on your big toe. There's a whole variety of rich experience there to be found all the time, but mostly it remains out of your awareness. It is in your conscious experience, but not in your awareness. So what is this part of you, this awareness that you move around? Again, notice what part of you moves as you take your awareness up to your knee. You can be aware of the skin on the top of your kneecap. You can be aware of the kneecap itself. You can notice the soft skin on the back of your knee. You even have a sense of the inside of your knee, inside the joint. You might not be able to make out the flesh and bone and tendons, but you know where it is and you have a sense of the inside of your knee. Now move your awareness up to your mouth. Notice how the tongue fills up the mouth. We often think of the mouth as an empty cavern, but mostly it's full of tongue. Notice the sensation of touch on the tip of the tongue as it rests on your front teeth. On the top and sides of your tongue is a sensation of flavour. Even if it's just the blandness of the absence of strong flavour, there's still a sense of flavour there. And notice that the experience of flavour has a different quality about it than the sensation of touch. Touch sensation and the experience of flavour are what I call objects in the conscious space in your mind. It's like there are three parts to your mind that are all intertwined. You have the objects themselves, you have the part that move amongst them and brings them into awareness, and then you have the space that this all occurs in. I call this space the room of consciousness. You can think of your conscious experience as a dark room and it's filled with all these different objects. And all the objects have different qualities about them. One object is the sensation in your feet, another is the touch sensation in your knee, another the touch on your tongue from your teeth, another is flavour. And then there's the part that does the noticing, the part you move around. You can think of it as a little flashlight, bringing things into focus one at a time. Of course, the only thing a flashlight can't shine a light on is itself. So as you try to notice the bit that does the noticing, you can find there's nothing to be noticed. What we do know is that this flashlight, your awareness, mostly operates on automatic pilot. This is what's happening when you are lost in thought. But as we've seen, you can get control where this flashlight or your awareness goes when you choose to. Let's have a look at some more objects. Now turn your awareness to any vision you might have, even though your eyes are closed. So there might be some colours swirling about, maybe reds, blues, pinks, yellows, purples, whatever it is for you. Once again, where was this experience before you brought your awareness to it? It must have been there, in the room of consciousness, but you hadn't turned the flashlight toward it. So again, what does it mean to take your awareness to something? Notice how this is visual experience. Even though this can't be what the inside of your eyelids looks like, this still feels like you're looking at it through your eyes. You can test this by taking your focus down low and in close, as if you were looking at the tip of your nose if your eyes were open. You might find a different level of detail arises. Some people describe it like microdots swirling around like haze on the horizon. Whatever it is for you, it still feels like you're looking at it through your eyes, even though that's not what's happening. Now, I want you to generate a random visual object. Notice something emerging into consciousness. Even though this is a visual object, it's different to the experience of looking at it with your eyes. You can't see this object with your eyes and you can't focus in on detail. This object can only be seen by taking your awareness to it. And it's a little harder to control focus. Your brain seems to want to get distracted more than when looking at something through your eyes. There's a few other interesting things about this random visual object. Where did it come from? This object wasn't in the room of consciousness the whole time, like the other objects so far. So where was it and who chose it? It must have been in you somewhere before it came into conscious awareness, but where? And how come this particular image? If you went back in time 10 minutes before this exercise, would you have been able to predict that that particular object would turn up? So did some other part of you choose this object? Are you in contact with that other part of you? Back to focusing on this object. Where is it exactly in the universe? So if you had your eyes open and you were looking at the head of a pin, you would be able to get the exact latitude and longitude and distance from the center of the earth of the head of that pin. You would know exactly where in the universe that object existed. But this random visual object, where exactly in the universe is it? It does exist somewhere. It's probably not in the tips of your ears, nor is it much above the top of your head or in front of the tip of your nose. So it exists in a location, but where? It must exist somewhere because you're aware of it in consciousness. But nobody else will be able to see this exact image, and this image can't step out of consciousness and have an impact on the world. It only exists in this particular room, the room of your consciousness. So now I'm going to get you to notice any sounds you can hear. And mostly when we notice sound, your brain wants to interpret what the sound is, to make sense of the world and make predictions about what's going on. Your mind wants to label this sound with an image or a meaning. For now, I want you to notice sound just for the quality of experience of sound itself. So is there some background humming, something inside the room creaking, might be something outside the room? Just notice sound for the rich experience of sound itself. Each sound its own object in consciousness. And notice that there's nothing inherent in sound waves that say they must create sound experience in consciousness. In fact, we're 99% certain that the echo a bat hears from its own clicking generates visual images in their conscious experience. Bats couldn't fly around so fast amongst thousands of other bats in complete darkness, navigating stalagmites and stalagmites at a high speed, without it being something a little more concrete than the experience of sound. And for the same reason, we believe snakes see heat. We think dogs might see smell. It's as though your conscious experience is like a computer screen, helping you navigate what's going on behind the computer. So our computers use a screen as an interface that is helpful, but the screen doesn't actually look like the diodes and electrodes and batteries and wires behind the interface. The interface is a representation that helps you navigate the space behind. In the same way, your conscious experience is there to help you navigate the universe, but it's not the only way to represent the universe on an interface. Your awareness of sound, of visual objects in your mind, to sight of the real world, to flavour, down to the awareness of your knee. The reality is that they are experience generated by your brain. Now with sound, clearly there are energy waves moving through the universe into your ear canal. There they knock over some fine hairs and this triggers some nerve endings, and in turn this causes some neurons to fire. And depending on what patterns they fire in, that generates the experience of sound in your mind. Your conscious experience is the interface, and it's just one form the interface could take. And emotions are the same. They are interface experience generated by your mind in order to help you navigate the universe in ways that are helpful. It's just that they are tuned into the environment of 1,000,000 years ago. What we're going to do now is in preparation for the second exercise. I'm going to get you to do 2 very deep breaths in a specific way, which I'll describe before we do them. I want you to think of your torso as split into 3 sections: diaphragm down the bottom, the middle, and the chest at the top. In this breath exercise, we're going to breathe in through your nose and fill up the diaphragm first, as full as it can get. Once the diaphragm is as full as it can get, you'll then fill up the middle and then completely fill up the chest. This is the biggest, deepest breath you've ever taken. You'll then release the air in the reverse direction. Empty the chest first, then the middle, and then the diaphragm. When you finish, come back to normal breathing. We'll just give you enough time now to make sure you finish those deep breaths. Go ahead and do those 2 really deep breaths now. Okay, let's bring your breathing back to normal. In and out through the nose. Breath in, short pause, breath out, short pause. And when you're ready, open your eyes and bring the rest of the world back into focus. Take a few seconds just to look down at the floor, table, desk, or whatever is there, just until you get your awareness back. Okay, I hope you found that useful. What I suggest is that you do that exercise half a dozen times, just so that something clicks and you change a little bit about the way you relate to your own experience. Once you've done this a few times, you can then go on and have a look at how to relate to uncomfortable sensations in the second exercise. I hope you have a nice day. Thank you.